Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. So today we're talking with Team CafriLearn. We're talking with Lillian, Humphrey, and Clinton on the project they built about and submitted to the Emerging Cup competition. So we can have them do a short introduction of themselves.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lillian Patience. I'm a part of Team CafriLearn. I'm currently a Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador in Dedan Kimathi University, pursuing Bachelor of Science in Electrical and Electronics Engineering, and I am the team manager. Yeah. Over to Humphrey.
Okay, hello everyone. So my name is Humphrey Shikunzi. I'm an electrical and electronics engineering student at the Nankimaki University. I'm also a Microsoft student ambassador, and I was part of Team CafriLearn, co-founder actually for Team CafriLearn, and I'm a full stack developer at Team CafriLearn. Yeah, I'm pleased to be part of this meeting today.
Thank you so much, Humphrey and Lillian, for the introduction. So we can go straight ahead to the first question. Can you tell us what is CafriLearn? We can start with Lillian.
Okay. So Team CafriLearn, we are a team of 4 members. We came up with a project that seeks to help children, especially those in lower primary, to be able to gain access to learning materials wherever they are within the world, especially those in marginalized communities with no access to the internet, as well as where electricity penetration is low. So we've created a device called Makini, which is an offline learning device that allows for an interactive session. It is low cost, and through the device, you can be able to allow students to gain access to learning materials through speech in a manner that is less costly and, most importantly, does not rely on the internet. For more what it's working, I'm going to let Humphrey, my fellow co-founder, also explore into that. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Lillian. So maybe another question. Okay, how are you now able to ensure the students get the education without internet? What platforms are you using? What technologies have you made use of?
Okay, being part of I'm going to answer this if it was for Humphreys. Being part of the Microsoft Emerging Cup, there's certain recommendations that are currently within the rules for you to be able to be eligible for competition. So majority of our platform is actually based on Microsoft Azure. We're making use of the blob storages. Storage is actually our main focus because we have to store most of our material there. And we're also making use of data analytics to be able to, whenever the device is in use, we're able to gain feedback from the device. And when we get that feedback, we analyze to be able to learn how to better improve the device in order to help children to gain more from our device. Yeah. So our technology is visually based on Azure Cloud Storage and data analytics. Yeah.
So maybe Humphrey, you can tell us what was your role in building the project and what did you learn?
When I was introducing myself, I said that I'm a full stack developer at CafriLearn. And so in terms of full stack development, like I foresaw like the technical implementation of the whole pipeline, because our system involved a mobile application. We had a device, and then we also have a website where we showcase our work and what we are doing for anyone who's interested in doing or working with us in whatever we are doing. And so there's a question asked earlier about the technologies that you were using, which my partner talked about them partially. So maybe I'll just mention a few other things about the same. And so mostly we're using Microsoft technologies, that's Microsoft Azure, to host the services, that's the website itself, the API, the databases, and the blob storage, which she talked about. And then what motivated us initially was that we wanted to relay materials to students or pupils in those communities that are very hard to reach, or those places that are very remote to reach in parts of Kenya, Africa, and beyond. And so the mobile application is the one that is the link, so that in those local Okay, so the reality is that in those local places, even if the students cannot access maybe learning materials, maybe most probably because they don't have access to a smartphone, it's most likely that a teacher in that place, at least one or two, have access to a smartphone. So it is these that teachers that will have to sign into the application, download materials, and then share via Bluetooth to the device, which we built using low-cost electronic devices. And it is now the device that the students or the pupils can interact to, ask questions, so that the device can read out content loud to them. And then through the feedback that the pupils will give to the device, it's the one that will get, and the information will be uploaded also to our databases. And from there, we can now know how to improve the device. And so in terms of my role inside the project itself, I used most of my time building the mobile app and part of the website. And then my other team members were building the device. And because the mobile app was also supposed to interface with the device, we are also working together in terms of making sure that the whole pipeline is done. Bethany.
Okay, first, I'm so sorry, my internet has an issue today, but probably I can also ask Lillian the same question. What was your role in building the project? What did you learn? And what skills did you bring to the team?
Majorly, I was a team manager, so I was playing multiple roles within. I was a person carrying out market research and the one who went ahead to form a partnership with a local school around our area called Moringato Primary School. So through that, we were able to test the device with children themselves. So the children were able to interact with the device and properly give us a feedback on the same that would allow us to create a better product, as well as help in terms of the business aspects and marketability and such areas. Also, when it came to contributions to the user interface, UI designs, that was some of the major issues that we were really having problems with. And I've personally, as a person, noted, it's an area that really needs more skills, and it's very demanding. Yeah. In terms of skills that I learned through, I'd say one of the greatest things that I've learned through, especially Imagine Cup and having a virtual Imagine Cup, is the need for teamwork and an understanding and rapport with each other. It's not very easy to work together in an era where you don't all at the same time, you're not in the same room or easily have access to each other. So you have to really be able to keep time to produce things by the deadline. Actually, during our Imagine Cup experience, we almost ended up being late for our session because we'd actually been scheduled as a 7th team. And I don't know, I'm not sure what happened in between, and our session came earlier, and some of us were not in the same room. So such instances have really been very, they cause a lot of anxiety, but at the same time, they help us to grow as a team and help to teach us to work better as a team in a team dynamic, and also to learn the strengths and the weaknesses that you have. Yes. Okay, so our next question would have been, have you conducted market research for your product? Is anyone using it? What is the current impact, or what do you think will be the future impact of your product? We have conducted market research, especially when the kids were in session last term, within the January to March period. We were able to ask a few teachers what their insight was into the product, as well as we got to see how the children are interacting. And through that, you can clearly see that it's an avenue that has yet to be explored. Yes, there's been the tablets and other forms of bridges to creating a link between children and their access to education, but most of them have tended to rely on internet connectivity. And the real experience that we all have, and as you can see right now, even with our meeting, we're having a lot of internet connection issues. And the reality is a lot of people within Kenya and Africa and beyond do not have access to proper internet connectivity, and even in some places, electricity penetration. As such, we believe our project is very viable. We're looking forward to creating a better prototype and launching it through our startup. Yeah. So I'll allow Humphrey to answer the next question.
Okay, Patience. So I think the next question is about the skills that we needed for us to develop maybe our solution. As I mentioned earlier, we have several things that we wanted to implement in our product or in our startup. One of them was the website, and for the skills that we needed to do that, definitely we needed a software developer with some skills in web development. Then also the mobile app, which I said earlier is the one that the teachers will use to access the materials from our storages or our remote storages. And so we also needed some skills, or rather skills in development of mobile applications. And then we also needed skills to develop the API that is now used to manage our users and also access to information. And also that's for the mobile app and the website itself. And because at the end of it, the main target thing is the device which the students or pupils will be interacting with, we needed skills in electronics, things to do with the firmware and electronics itself, knowledge with electronics. So we also were lucky because most of us are electrical engineers in the team. So we also had such skills, and we were lucky to build the whole pipeline from end to end completely. So I think those are most of the skills that we needed inside our project, or rather for us to start the startup itself. And we were lucky that the whole team was part of that. And then also we also had the skills in marketing, not really doing that as a course at the university, but out of information we got from our DHub manager. He's called Mr. Ken. So he's the one who helped us in terms of design, the whole design for the marketing, and how to work as a team all together towards building a product that at the end of it will be viable for the end user.
As both of you are student ambassadors, what has the Microsoft Student Ambassador Program contributed to your project, and what has participating in the Imagine Cup also contributed to your project? So you can start with you, Humphrey.
And on top of that, after winning the first round of competition and joining the World Championship, we are also given access to resources, that's in terms of using Azure Cloud for a given number of months in terms of building our startup. So that has contributed so much towards whatever we are building.
And probably you can also say how the student ambassador community has contributed to your project.
Participation in the Imagine Cup has helped our project to get more attention and more traction. We've also been able to gain more insight into the strengths of our process, and also to understand the capabilities to which we can even take our project to. In addition, attending the Microsoft Imagine Cup Challenge also allowed us as a team to become more motivated, and we're also able to make it through the first round. And that to us was a very huge achievement to ourselves. And I believe that it has really helped us gain more exposure, more traction, as well as more insight into what we could do better and improve on our product.
Thank you so much, Lillian and Humphrey, for that. So maybe we can just head directly to the next question. You built your project during the COVID-19 pandemic, and I'm sure it had a major challenge in building your project. Can you mention some of the challenges you faced and how you responded to them? So we can start with you, Lillian. Yeah.
Okay. One of the major challenges of working in a COVID-19 era is when you're dealing with something that has to do with hardware. It's not like we can pass it on. At some moment you can find someone is in Nyeri, another one is in Nairobi. We can't pass it on along. So having to build a hardware device that requires somebody else is also working on the program, another person is working on the mobile application, another is working on the website. Like linking them all together at the same time to form a pipeline that actually works is, I would just say it's a bit hectic because there are deadlines to be met, there's sacrifices to be made to be able to make up for the time that we have. Especially when we were participating in the Imagine Cup. There were times when we'd sleep really late because you've been working on all the things that are required. So I'd say one of the greatest tests for the COVID-19 would come with how to work as a team, as I'd said earlier. Teamwork is very important, and also like each member being ready to fulfill their own needs in this COVID-19 pandemic, where you can't really work properly and complete a project on time unless everyone plays their parts as they should be and everyone is willing to work towards that objective that you have. So with that, we were able to really create a really good teamwork dynamic. And the best part about our team, we are all really diverse in terms of what we can do. So that really helped us in terms of being able to work together and also to create our pipeline to work properly. Yeah. Over.
Thank you, Lillian. So probably I'll go next to Humphrey. So Humphrey, in the project, in building your project, what is one thing that you can say you really regret doing and you can advise people against doing so, and also how did you manage to overcome it? So Humphrey.
Okay, thank you, Bethany, for that question. Although I will say that I don't regret anything because it was the first time you were doing everything. So any idea you were thinking about, any approach, it was the first time. It was your first part. No one has ever taught that, maybe you to do that, or no one has ever done that before. So I wouldn't say that I'm regretting, but maybe I'll advise anyone who would want to build maybe such a thing from scratch, not to maybe do the same mistakes again. One of the things is in terms of the materials that we used. And you saw we were talking about having revision materials, and then we're having these materials stored somewhere in a block storage, and it's from there that teachers can download such materials and share via maybe Bluetooth to the device before the students or pupils can start interacting with the device. And so I personally and the other team members were like going to each of the websites and looking for revision materials. Like for class 1, we could have class 1, maybe class 1 English, mathematics, Swahili, all the 6 subjects, class 2, class 3, class 4, all the way to class 8. And from there, starting from Form 1, Form 2, Form 3 to Form 4. Then at the end of it, after working through all those things, we realized that first of all, for you to even relay maybe learning materials to any student or any people, first of all, you must get certification from bodies like Ministry of Education or Ministry for Curriculum Development. It's called the KICD, Kenya Curriculum for Development. And so that means that all those materials that we had gone maybe looking from website A to website B, even though it's the right thing, but no one has given us maybe a go on to say that start using this. So maybe I'll advise, if you're starting such a thing, maybe you could have just looked for 2 or 3 materials, and then after testing a product and have realized that it's working, you can now start partnering with the bodies that have been given that authority to develop curriculum for students to learn. And so that was one of the things that I could say we spent a lot of time working on, which was not really necessary at the beginning of the project. So I think we could have used that time to do something else. And then the other thing was in terms of preparation for the presentations for the Imagine Cup and such. And so you saw my partner was talking about how we were in different places. And so if it's possible for maybe both of you being together or having a very good communication channel, I think it will be very well. And also practice, even if you're participating in a competition and such, practice, I think you cannot avoid that. You should like just practice as much as possible to know and expect anything that you can be asked. I think there were some of the 2 things that I could say if I go back, I would change. Although, as I have said, I'm not regretting because it was the first time and I was learning.
So maybe a follow-up on that. What was one of the most exciting moments while creating the project and also during the Imagine Cup competition?
Okay, so I think in terms of the amazing things, I will talk of two things. One of them is that I like programming, not really programming, technology in general. And so whenever I come across an opportunity for me to sit down and start writing those lines of code, seeing all those lines of code going across your screen, and then of which you go and compile your code, it works. So I think I really enjoyed that because uh, I really enjoy like building things. That was one of the most important things. And then also having a team that is so much dedicated in what they are doing, and not just dedicated, but so much skilled in what they were doing. So I also came to realize that as far as I've been sitting with these people, most probably we are maybe doing the same course and all that, but you have not worked on a project before. I realized that they have some level of potential that I did not know initially, but I just came to realize this after now, okay, during the building process and the Imagine Cup process. Then also the other interesting thing when you were selected to now go to the Imagine Cup World Finals. And you saw when I saw the email and it was saying that congratulations, your team, you have been now you have now proceeded to go to the next level. Then when you go and look at the categories, so you are going to see you are competing with teams from Japan, Canada, and other teams like Turkey. You saw like that brought us ourselves as a team and even the whole university like to a global level, and that is one of the most interesting things that I'll want like to experience even after going out there, whereby you're doing things and like if it's competition or if it's pitching your ideas, you are doing it at a global level and showing that there's also something that you can bring on the table. Yeah, I think that is very interesting.
Yeah, that's actually very interesting. Like you can now say you've gone, your project is now global, not just local. Everyone knows about it, not just you guys. So maybe I can also ask Lillian the same question. What are some of the exciting moments you've had during the creating of the project?
Um, the first one would be when we got selected when our participation into EU Africa was confirmed. That was like the first platform we ever presented our project to. For me, that was a very nice opportunity, and I was excited because it showed that there was potential for what we were doing. The second one would be when our program first ran. Like I remember we were always like, "Is it working yet?" No, it's so intense when you're trying to get your idea working, and when you finally like you hear the device is working, you're like you're so excited, like you're so happy because your idea has come to life finally. You can see it working, you can see it in action. It's a feeling that can't be compared to anything else. And the other part would have been seeing how children received it. Like I wish we could post that video for you, or even give you the link. I think I should post the link towards our video. Like seeing how children responded to our product was so amazing. Like they were so excited. They were constantly asking it questions to give them information. It felt like you were really doing something huge for them. Like it just felt amazing. That's all I can say. Yeah, and just as Humphrey had said, I remember Humphrey and Clinton, and also Collins, all of them found out about it before me since the email came out at, I think, around 1 a.m. And most of the time I sleep early. So they're already awake by that time. So I woke up in the morning, I'm seeing like the email and everything. I'm like, oh my God, you're awake. I was so excited. I was not even believing this is happening. It was a really amazing experience for me, I have to say. Yeah.
Okay, so do you have the video with you? You want to share it now?
Unfortunately, my laptop is Paragasha.
You
Like
just
it's
share with
not.
us the link.
I know, but
I'll
I'll
ensure
send the
the
link.
link.
Let me send
Yeah.
you the
Okay.
link. We have a link to a video. It should be there. So let me get you the link. I'll send it to you so you can post it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so
Okay.
much. So you've mentioned that you have students using your product. So what is the impact? How many people are using the product? What is the benefit to them?
Okay, currently the products that we have, we've only the devices that we have are not many. We are still working on them. So it's more of test runs, like we take them to the children, and which we've not done it that a lot, but we'll take it to them and then they respond to it. But right now, most of the kids are at home, so we're not able to do that because we'd go to the local, like there's a primary school near our school, so we'd go there and as part of our volunteer activities, we'd also have them interact with the device. So right now, since children are not at home, it's not in use at the moment. Yeah.
So how soon what are your plans? How soon will it be?
I believe when they open from 10th, we'll be able to continue with our testing. And mostly the device can be used in, like for one classroom, you can use one device. Yeah.
That's
so yeah, so one device can cater for a large group of children since you're able to load varied types of content. So for us, it's more, we're still processing finishing up on certain tweaks within the device. So until that is complete and done, we can't for sure say more about it. Yeah, but it's a work in progress, and very soon you'll be seeing a very good final product.
So for the next question, have you been able to look for funding for your project? Have you gotten any funds for your project? And how did you approach the funding process, if you have any funds?
Okay, so I think I'll address this question. So in terms of now funding, okay, I will say we have not started looking maybe for funding for the project right now because we are still doing like the beta tests, as I said, in terms of software development and hardware development to make sure that phase 1 and 2 really goes well before even having to attempt to maybe get up there to the next level. And fortunately, as I said earlier, most of the equipment that we needed to do that, we already have them. Although we are also in plans to get out and start doing some funding, although not maybe say the details of what we are doing right now. So Bethany, I think in terms of the further details on what we are doing or the next steps in terms of funding, yes, there are plans to do that, but I'll not talk about that details right now.
Okay, no problem. So I think one last question before we call it a day. How does the building process look like to you? How can you give us a roadmap of how you started, where you are, and where you'll be going in the next few months? You're muted.
Okay, so let me talk about how we started. When we were starting this, it was last year during the lockdown. I think it was in September. September last year when we were still having lockdowns and such. So we were working remotely in different places. During that time I was in Nairobi. Patience was in another different place. We also have two other team members, Clinton and Collins. They're also in different places, but I think initially we were three of us. Then we came and onboarded another team member to the team. So we were working remotely, but in communication to each other. Then, fortunately, when the COVID restrictions were at least lifted, we came back to school, started working on building the software. Mostly, we started with the website and the mobile application itself. Then, when when we went for Christmas, when we went for Christmas, we ordered some hardware from Amazon before going to Christmas. So when we came back in January, the hardware had come. So we now started I think in terms of the hardware, I'm talking about some electronic devices which we did not have locally, but most of the electronic devices, others we have them locally. So we did that and assembled the whole thing and wrote firmware for the same, integrated the whole pipeline, and it was working. So I think that was the initial thing. Then in terms of what you are doing right now is that you saw we were talking about the device the students or pupils interacting with the device. And so we're talking about an interactive thing whereby you can ask it question for example, like what is photosynthesis for class 4 students, and the device will read out to them that photosynthesis is the process by which plants make their own food and such. And so right now we're now in the process of improving on the models or the systems for interactivity in terms of intent recognition, giving feedback to the student and the teacher. And then also I personally have been working on improving the software part of it. That's the mobile app in terms of look, in terms of adding some features and all that. Then the next level, when schools reopen, for the primary schools, we'll be going back to the local primary school where we had done some tests to now do the next set of tests and get the next set of feedback from them. Then from there, we'll now go on into making now the first fabrication for the first device. And from there, you had asked me earlier about how we have done funding and all that. I think that is already in the plan and should be the next, it's among the next things that we are working on. And also partnering with local content providers, because you also had me mention earlier that we were using some information, maybe in terms of books or books, maybe primary books or secondary books from different websites on that are available out there online. But we looked at some of the restrictions for things like Ministry of Education and Ministry of Education, because so we need some legal to show that whatever content we are giving to the students or pupils is legal or up to standard. And so we will not go into that, into doing all that, because it will be a lot of work. So the best way to navigate around that is to partner with the content providers that have been given the authority to do that. So I think those are also some of the things that we are working on for the next phase of whatever we are doing in building CafriLearn. Bethany.
Thank you so much, Humphrey, for that. So maybe I can bring you and Lillian both back up, and I want you to give us your parting shots. What advice can you give to students also aspiring to be founders who want to turn the side project into something big? So we can start with Lillian, then Humphrey.
One thing that I've learned from my journey with all the projects I've undertaken, not just CafriLearn itself, your product, once you've created your product and your idea, that is a manifestation of your intellect, your skill, your everything. So don't be afraid to give it a go at many competitions. There are times that you're going to, we've gone through the whole we apply, we don't get in, sometimes we get in, you don't win. It's part of the process, but at the same time you get to gain more experience. Especially I'd like to encourage people to participate in the Microsoft Emerging Cup. You get access to so much, so many experts are there who can also give you more advice and insight. It opens you to a whole other world of opportunities that you'd otherwise not have been able to have. And at the same time, you also get to get a lot of perks, like they do give Azure credits and that help you to further develop your product. So I hope that anyone with your projects, believe in your product, trust in your product, and give it a go. And yeah, you'll make it through. You'll be as successful as you can be, as long as you give it all the effort that you have.
Okay, so from my side, I will say, if you want to build such a successful thing from scratch, the first thing you should look at the first most important thing that you are doing here. What you are doing here is that you are solving problems, and so look at around your place, your local place, your school, wherever you are, and all that you are doing here. So there are so many problems around, but you can all of them, like you cannot solve all of them at the same time, but just like look for one thing that you think you can solve this problem. Then after doing that, first of all, build a team of 2 to 3 people, not more than that, and not less than that, because in terms of being it alone as one person, it will not be very good, because you'll have to develop everything yourself. You'll find yourself that you're the person who is going to write the code, you're the person who is going to look for how the customer will react to whatever you're doing. Doing all those things as one person will not be something that you will really want to. So build a team of 3, look for 2 other people that you can work with, and they should not just be any other person, because you'll work with people whereby you start maybe meet on the first week, the second week, and the third week they'll not be in the meeting anymore. When you call them, they'll say that maybe they're busy doing this and this. So look for people that you have worked with and they're reliable, and you are moving forward towards implementing what you're doing. And then after that, it's because it's the problem that you want to solve, as we did for ourselves. Get out there and look at one of maybe your customers or one of the persons that will be interested in using your solution, and then talk to them in a nicer way. And then after creating a relationship with them, when you build maybe version 1 of your product, it does not need to be working perfectly, because you will not have all the requirements or all the resources for you to build the first version perfectly. There's another blog post that I read somewhere which encouraged me so much, and I'll just take that as advice to someone else. Even the first version for Windows, when it was brought to the market, it was not a complete or a perfect product. It used to crash and do all those things, but it was being improved on completely. And so if you say that you want maybe to learn programming and be better at it, then you go and start saying, I want to learn now marketing, I want to start now learning team management and all those. You'll never get there, but just start with what you have and keep on improving on it. So I think that will be the main advice that I'll give to people out there, or any student who will be interested in having something of their own. And then bring it on board and let people listen to you, to what you have to say.
Thank you so much, Humphrey and Lillian. It's been a pleasure having you on the call. Thank you for sharing your journey with us. And I believe Makini will be something big very soon. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, and see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you too.